Alright, I figured I'd go ahead and put some commentary on this video and kind of explain what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, you know. Here I'm doing a down dog. I just got done climbing, so my shoulders and back are a little sore, and this is a good way to open up that shoulder girdle. And even doing some scapular rotations there, kind of loosen things up actively. Also doubles as a good ankle stretch. Look at my feet and ankles there. Get nice and stretched. Of course, those get sore too after climbing if you use them right. Trying to push my chest down some more, open up in the thoracic spine some more, which is also very tight right now. A very nice compound stretch. Trying to do more than one thing at once, you know. Isolation, exercises, and stretches are good, but if you can do more than one thing at once, then you'll, cut your workout times in half or even, more. There I am kind of releasing, resting a bit, doing a child's pose, getting the back nice and stretched out again. More of a passive stretch there. And what am I doing now? A little rest period, I guess. Oh yeah, here we go. So I'm getting ready to do there it is. Rolling the shoulders back and get into a tabletop posture. And this is a great one for stretching those hip flexors in the front there, stretching those elbows and bicep tendons, and instead of extending the arms overhead, I'm flexing them behind me, so good for shoulder flexion, opening up the chest and front deltoids. And just trying to find a good, nice posture there. I like to kind of superset that one with the L-sit, just because it's fun, honestly. And it's also a good way to kind of stretch out the back, and I'm actively pushing into the ground, so my trapezius is being stretched, my back muscles that are below or under it. Not holding it too long, because I don't want to build any more tension in the body. I've built enough tension in my workouts, so here I'm focusing on more getting the blood pumping and, lengthening the muscles and finding a good alignment in the body. Here I've done a reverse lunge into a split squat hold. Another good compound stretch, pumping up the legs and really stretching the hip flexors and quads of the back leg, and also the feet and toes of that back leg. I like to use a lot of body weight loaded stretches and postures, so, well, for one, so I can use my body. And teach you that it's okay to be in this kind of posture, If I didn't practice this, I would eventually lose the ability to stay in this kind of posture, which is not good. Or at least the ability to stay in it comfortably. Also, loaded stretches are obviously a great way to get deeper into a stretch. If you add more weight to a stretch, you will increase the range of motion. Of course, do both sides, unless one side is injured or something. You always want to do both. Alright, a little rest period before I set up into a shin stretch, as well as a stretch of the instep of the foot. I'm going to kneel down and kind of sit on my heels there. Again, just add a little more weight to the stretch. Adding weight to a stretch, again, will increase the intensity of the stretch. But like anything, you don't want to hold something intense for a long period of time. The whole point of an intense stretch is that you won't have to hold it that long for it to be effective. There I'm leaning back and really opening up the hip flexors and quads, and now I'm chilling out and stretching into a child's pose. That one is a good stretch, a very intense one, which is why I didn't hold it too long, because you're having to very forcefully contract the posterior chain, hamstrings, glutes, etc., to stretch the anterior chain, hip flexors, chest, all that stuff, quads. So a nice passive stretch of the posterior chain with something like a child's pose is very good to do after that, so you don't want to build up too much tension again. Here I'm kind of sitting down on my feet to stretch them. This is a pretty good one for the arches. I hold this for a long period of time, longer than I would recommend for most people, but I'm used to it, so it is totally fine for me and definitely necessary because my feet were quite cramped up from wearing those climbing shoes that are very tight and just, walking around all day and stuff like that. And here we go again. I'm making this into a compound stretch. I'm stretching my trapezius and neck, levator scapula, stuff like that, and I'm tractioning it from either side of the muscle. I'm pulling a bit with that hand on top of my head, and I'm pulling with the opposite arm on my ankle to traction those muscles. If you turn your chin down into that shoulder like I was doing, or into the armpit, that will get more of the levator scapula. If you just put your ear on your shoulder like I'm doing now, that will get more of the neck muscles and the trapezius. And there I go, chin of the armpit. Again, kind of changing up the angle of the stretch and getting a different effect. There are tons of back muscles, and they're huge muscles, so it's good to switch up the angle of stretches and, get a different stimulus, different effect. Here I'm about to stretch my forearm flexors, my wrist, and my elbows all at the same time. Loading up a little bit with my body weight, and then kind of sitting back to get more of a stretch. This is a very important one for climbers and martial arts, or martial artists both. If you're punching a lot, if you're grabbing things, your forearms and wrist will definitely get sore, so important to stretch those muscles and tendons out and prevent tendinitis and stuff like that. Now I'm putting the back of my hands on the floor and I'm stretching the forearm extensors, the other side of the arms there. Same thing. And you can't see it well, but I'm actually flexing my thumbs into the palms of my hands to get more of a stretch in the tendons of that area, that thumb area too. And that was pretty much it. Simple as that. Stretch what feels good, stretch if you need to be stretched. The end.